The average US Taylor Swift fan spent $1,327 attending the Eras Tour. By the time the tour wrapped up early last month, she had played to a total of over 10 million people. For reference, that'd be like every single person in the city of Austin, Texas, seeing Taylor Swift 10 times over. I need you to understand the scale of this. She didn't just set the record for the highest grossing tour of all time, she nearly doubled the previous record, and that one was set by a tour that went on for 3 years. Taylor generated all $2 billion of her dollars in under 2 years. And I feel like this has left our collective consciousness, but Taylor Swift is entering her 19th year in the music industry. Her first album can rent a car in Nebraska. The Eras Tour is a crazy reminder of just how much staying power the old school pre-TikTok musicians have. Meanwhile, the rest of the music industry is freaking out because they might have to actually start developing artists again.
In fact, as we speak, Justice Department attorneys are going head-to-head with lawyers from TikTok inside the Supreme Court over a law that will ban the app nationwide. The U.S. is arguing that TikTok poses a serious threat to national security and must ultimately find a new owner or be shut down.
Yep. That's right. If the US government and TikTok don't come to an agreement by January 19th, the app is officially banned. The countdown to the end of TikTok is upon us, and labels are likely terrified that they might have to switch up their wait until a song is already famous and take some of the profit strategy. Since the dawn of TikTok, labels have traded long-term strategy for short-term virality. Some of you might be too young to remember this, but your favorite artists didn't used to come from Verizon stores and childhood bedrooms. Labels used to find talented musicians and slowly develop them into well-rounded artists. Although it sucks that labels have shifted towards this strategy, artists have seriously picked up the slack by becoming great marketers in addition to great musicians. There's no predicting exactly how TikTok's disappearance will affect the music industry, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on the fact that artists are now more equipped than ever to weather the storm without the help of a label. But you know who's not ready to weather a storm? The 2024 iHeartRadio Jingle Ball audience in New York.
Hi everyone. I know it's crazy. It's so late. It's so cold outside. It's like
Yeah, so apparently half of the audience just walked out in the middle of Katy Perry's performance, and initially everyone blamed the cold weather. We'll ignore the fact that New York drops down to freezing temperatures on a yearly basis for a second. The iHeartRadio Jingle Ball is an annual tour that features some of the biggest names in music. However, this year it seemed everyone had somewhere to be right after. There doesn't really seem to be a consensus on why half the crowd walked out, but most people seem to think that crowd goers needing to catch trains and get home at a decent time are the culprit. It's worth noting that this is a new thing. You used to stay until the end of the event you paid hundreds of dollars for, suck it up, and deal with the 3-hour journey home. But concert goers seem to be getting increasingly bored with concert going.
So
Or something.
yeah, tickets right now, ticket sales are the lowest they've been in 35 years.
Why do you think that is?
TikTok brain. People don't care. Why would you go to a show where it's like an hour and a half of your day, an hour transiting probably? Yeah, there's obviously a lot of people that probably don't see it that way too, but think about the younger generation.
Rapper bbno, who you just saw in that clip, was recently on YouTuber Graham Stephan's finance podcast, and it is a must-watch if you're at all curious about the economics of the music business. What shocked me about this podcast is that bbno was rattling off specific numbers, which is something we rarely see in the music industry, including ones like how much he plans to lose on his next tour.
On a touring perspective, it's a nightmare. If you don't get to 5,000 capacity shows and you tour at like a 2,000 to 3,000 capacity like tour, and you want to bring production and try to make it a cool experience for your fans, you are always in the red. I'm aiming to do this like 33 stop tour in Europe, and it will net me negative $127,000.
How much he makes from different streaming platforms?
Every million streams is about $3,800. I think I stream about 48 to 49 million streams a month on average. So it would be about 150,000. But I don't own all the royalties.
And even how much he got paid for a song being placed in a trailer for the Garfield movie.
So Garfield took one of my songs and used it as their trailer, and I checked my phone, and I was like, boom, $300,000. Just like that.
Are
Just
you
like that.
kidding me?
There's a ton more that they go over in this podcast that I don't have time to talk about right now, but I highly recommend checking it out. Speaking of checking out, Joe Biden is wrapping up his stint as the president of the United States, but not before welcoming rapper and reality TV star Flava Flav into the White House. I'm going to read you in on this lore because it's absolutely ridiculous. In 2024, Flava Flav came across a social media post from the captain of the U.S. women's water polo team. Stick with me. I promise this wraps back TikTok around. Her post talked about how she and many of her teammates need to take on a second or even a third job to financially support themselves. And this is after the US women's team took home the gold 3 years in a row. So Flava Flav, being 65, rich, and carefree, took it upon himself to personally sponsor the US women's water polo team. This led Flava Flav to attend the 2024 Paris Olympics, where he met, Jill Biden. These two are apparently homies. They have the potential to be the next Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart. So that's how Flava Flav wound up getting invited to a White House holiday party, and we wound up getting these incredible pictures. The 2020s are a strange time, y'all. But they're still not as strange as Drake filing legal action against his own label. Midway through 2024, we got what will undoubtedly go down as one of the most iconic rap beefs of our lifetime. If you somehow missed it, Drake and Kendrick Lamar dropped diss track after diss track against each other. And it all came to a head when Kendrick Lamar dropped Not Like Us, a diss track so fire it took the #1 spot on Billboard. Naturally, Drake didn't like that. But unnaturally, he decided to take his rap beef to the courts. Drake is alleging that Universal Music Group, the label that released Not Like Us, and also the label that he himself is signed to, conspired with Spotify to artificially inflate the stream count of the song. To clarify some of the headlines you might have seen about this story, Drake hasn't filed a full-on lawsuit quite yet. So far, he's just filed paperwork that indicates he might be looking to file a lawsuit, and the music world has reacted pretty unanimously to this news. Everyone agrees that this probably was not the best move for Drake PR-wise. But however this shakes down, subscribe to stay tapped in, and I'll see you soon.